Hey everyone, welcome back to another Kevin's Creations here on Geektopia Island. I'm Kevin.
I'm Cardwell.
And we're here showcasing a brand new deck. Well, it's a deck that was at the Minnesota GP. It was probably one of the best decks there. And it's just a good deck to show off for the last little bit before we get into the new set.
Yeah, there's really nothing to super build because, there's no more tournaments and it's all the set rotations about to happen.
Yeah, we're in rotation. We're close to rotation, so we're just kind of showing off the last the few meta decks to showcase some fun meta fights before we go. And we like to call this deck False Testimony. It's a pretty funny deck. It's pretty interesting the way it can work and just win out of nowhere. But before we get into it, guys, we remind you that we do have a Patreon. The link is down below. Go check it out. It just takes $1 to give us some love and support. We'd greatly appreciate it. And in our Patreon, you'll find access to our Discord. You'll find access to our previous decks and access to all of our new decks that we're putting out sooner and before anyone else. Whole bunch of extra perks and stuff in our Discords or in our Patreon. So go check that out.
And speaking of rotation, don't forget that we do actually have a Force of Will deck builder, which is FOW Grimoire. That link will also be down below, and we'll be able to hopefully have the new set up and ready by that week, and you can start building it immediately.
Yeah.
So pretty much, and it's all on Apple and Android and all that fun stuff as well.
All right, guys, let's delve into False Testimony.
Yes.
So, it is Dante Belial. It was one of the strongest decks there, and it really does do a lot for just in general, what it can do is kind of ridiculous. Kind of a Turbo Rush Satan, but it's also kind of not in the same regard. It's weird. We'll get into it. So, Dante, our boy. He judgments for 1 black, tag Fallen Angel, and God's Art Sloth. Pay 0, this card gains cards in all removed areas, and all graveyards lose all abilities, which is pretty strong.
Super powerful.
His J side is a 7/8 with flying, and enter, search your deck for a card named Vergilius and put it in your hand. Then shuffle your deck.
That's all you need from him.
So literally this dude says 1 mana, go get a Virgil, and I'm a Virgil now.
Yeah.
That's what that dude says, and it's really how you want to play him.
Next one, of course, is Belial. He is the white-black for Judgment, tag Fallen Angel, and if you would have your starting life total set, it is set to minus 2,000 instead, which is pretty big. Half your life. Resonator tokens you control, though, get +2/+2 and Bane. It has the Fallen trigger. You cannot lose the game, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you, and with his Deadly Sin is Pride, which is pay 0, draw a card. Simple as that, you can trigger it just not to die. And his flip side is Flying, A8. Resonator tokens you control have +4/+4, Bane, and Drain. And enter, put 2 4/4 Light Darkness Fallen Angel tokens with Flying into the field. With the Fallen trigger also on the back, you cannot lose the game, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. So when he just comes into play, that's just so much power. That's at least 24 power immediately.
Yeah. But also remember, when he's on the backside, he loses the ability to get Fallen.
Yeah.
He can still get it, but he loses the ability to trigger it by getting a God's Art. So you still have to have Dante's God's Art available. Alright, so the creatures we have. First is the Witch of the Fallen Kingdom. It is 1 black for a 4/4. Quick cast, your opponent cannot search their deck. Seal 5, you may reveal a witch you own from outside the game and put it into the field. It's a staple right now because it's going to be a staple for a while.
Yeah.
Because his deck search is really, really strong and it's just a good card.
Speaking of the most #1 staple is Vergilius, Rebel against Satan. Even if you're not playing Dante, you play him no matter what. So, he's 3 black, 10/10, Swiftness. You may make a J-Ruler you control Astral rather than play this card's cost, which is why he's in there. Pay a black, choose 1. This card deals 400 damage to target player or J-Resonator. Or, this card deals 400 damage to your opponent and each J-Resonator your opponent controls. Choose this option only if the card is attacking. And then he has a Fallen trigger, which gives him Drain and Bane, which, with the ability to trigger hit all your dudes while attacking, you board white for 1 black while attacking.
Mm-hmm.
It's very extremely strong and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you gain a lot of life.
A lot of life.
Next is the Angel of False Life. It is a white, black, and 2 for a 10/10 flyer, and it costs 2 less to play if your life is 2,000 or less. And then enter, your opponent loses 1,000 life, you gain 1,000 life.
Yep.
Card's a really good way to just get back in the game or to just end the game if you're at low enough life.
Yeah, or if your opponent's low enough, which we'll get to. And of course, Geryon, because you need to him. It's 2 green, 2 black, 1, 15/15, Swiftness, Precision, Flying. Your opponent cannot play spells with total cost 1 or less, which really destroys a lot of things. Green, remove this card from your hand, counter target spell with total cost 1 or less. Black, remove this card from your hand, destroy target Resonator with total cost 1 or less. It's just It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing right now, you need to be playing Geryons and Vergils because they're both the 2 best cards in the game right now.
Yeah.
And it's just how it is, honestly. The first spell we have is Secret Duel in the Moonlight. It is 1 red, quick cast. Not quick cast.
No.
Just 1 red as additional cost to play this card. Pay any amount of life. Draw a card for each 1,000 life paid this way. You can pay a red. This card deals X damage to divide it as you choose among any number of target J Resonators, where X is the additional paid.
Yeah.
So this card you actually don't have to pay the Awakening for. You mainly play this to pay X life and draw X cards. And it also triggers real well with Inferno, which we'll get to, but it's really funny just because you're like, cool, I'm going to go down to low life and then be able to kill you.
Yep. Thanks.
And with Belial, you can God's Art on your turn. It's a dangerous play. I'm not saying this is a good op, but you can be like, cool, God's Art, so I don't lose the game. Trigger, I draw X cards and I go to like minus whatever and draw cards. And then you change their life to that too. So it's a dangerous play because if they have a way to around it, then you lose because it goes away. And
yeah.
You lose.
You have to at least try to be able to gain that much life before you die that turn.
It is pretty funny to just be like, well, I'm at 0, you're at 0.
Hey,
like,
Inferno, yeah, do you lose?
Yeah.
You do. Next one is Necronomicon Barrier. It's a 1 black. Quick cast, choose 1. Resonator entering the field under your opponent's control does not cause their own abilities to trigger, which is all you need, and it's super powerful.
Mm-hmm. Next up is Dispelling Stone. It is 1 white. Quick cast, destroy target addition, draw a card, shuffle this into the donor's deck, so it doesn't makes you not draw out.
Yeah.
But mostly you're killing additions and drawing free cards because there's a lot of really pesky additions. Like all the castles are really good to kill because they don't need to be in play.
Yeah. No, they're very hard to deal with. Dark Alice's Smile. It's a 1 black. Major, your opponent reveals their hand, choose a chant, addition, regalia, or stranger resonator from among them. Remove them from the game. If this card was awakened, instead choose a card from them and remove from the game. Banish a dark crystal. Is that? But you're just there to empty out their hand real quick.
Yeah, you're gonna get a card probably,
chant,
regardless
sure.
whether it is a chant or an addition, but you're gonna probably get one.
Yep.
Next is number 13, Anti-Magic. It is a green-white. Quick cast, cancel target spell. Seal 4, you pay a white less. Seal 7, you pay a green less. This is probably another card that you're going to want to play in if you're playing competitive because this card's just really, really strong.
Yeah.
Because it's literally just a counterspell or 1 less counterspell.
Yeah. It's free turn 7. It's really good.
Yeah.
Inferno, the big bad of the deck here. And you should know it. It's a black and a red chant. Choose 1. Your opponent banishes a non-magic stone. Non-J ruler entities controller the same number of ones that you control. Your opponent discards cards until they have the same number of cards of hand as you. Your opponent loses life until they have the same amount of life as you. So that's pretty awesome. That's the winner.
Yeah.
And as a fallen, when this card gains quickness in all zones. If you control a Steema, then you get all 3, but we don't care. We just want them to be at 0 like us.
Yeah, that's mainly what you're doing with this one. You're going to do it most of the time on your turn, but you can do it on their turn if you want to catch somebody off guard. Like, you should be like, cool, I'm at 0. You're at dead.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone of y'all have played Earthbound, but when you get hit, your life total rolls down. I like how it's worded. Your opponent loses life until they have the same amount of life. So it looks like it just rolls down.
Yeah. Next is Castle of Belial. It is a white and a black for a 2-drop. If damage is dealt to you, prevent 400 of it, and then tap, put a 4/4 light and darkness flying token into play. So
this card is so good.
in Belial, this card is insane because it makes you prevent damage from Virgil, which is super powerful.
Yep.
And it gives you a token every turn, so it gives you constant board presence, and those tokens gain Bane because Belial exists.
Yeah, and they're 6/6 Bane flying.
Yeah, cool. I'll have a dude that can kill your dudes always.
Yeah.
Seems good.
And if you have multiple of them, then you just produce dudes all day. Ridiculous. Prideful Rule is the next one. So 1 white and 2, but it's basically 1 white. As quick cast, you may play 2 less to play this card as long as your life is 2,000 or less, which it will be. Destroy target non-magic stone entity. Put a 4/4 lightness, darkness, angel resonator flying on the field. This card is one of the best killing things of ever.
Yeah, if you're playing Belial, play this card.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's competitive or not, this card is insane. It's 1 mana, kill a thing, get a dude.
And I would honestly just play it in general, no matter what, if you're playing white.
Belial's rule is a white and a black and 2. You may pay 2 less to play this card if your life is 2,000 or less. Remove all non-token resonators from the game. Remove this card from the game as it resolves. And then it gains. Players cannot chase God's Art abilities you control as long as it's in your removed area. So this is to make sure that they don't stop your God's Art because Belial lives and dies off of his God's Art,
Yeah.
like legitimately. So if you're like, hey, don't do that, like they can't counterspell your God's Art, then you get to win.
Yeah.
The stones are pretty simple and straightforward. Magic Stone of the 6 stages, which is the untapped stone. Magic Stone of Heaven's Rift, which is white-black. Imaginary Satan, the Magic Crystal, which is add a black, or it adds a mana of any color as long as you have an Astral Ruler. So you're going to have Astral and Dante. And then Erythropia, the Bloodstone, pay a black, or tap banish this card until in the game. You may play God's Art abilities one more turn of Fallen Angels you control. So you get to be like, cool, God's Art's another time.
Yeah, make it really, really busted.
This deck is really strong unless it gets Erythropias on the first 3 turns, and then it dies pretty hard because
Yeah.
Belial has to have white.
Which you'll see in our brawls, because
Yeah.
that's going to happen.
Yeah, Cardinal usually gets hit with those, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. The sideboard is got a lot to it, but I'm only going over a couple cards that are like necessary for this, what it does. First being Witch with a Pointy Hat, which is 1 green, quick cast, enter, prevent all damage that would be dealt to target entity this turn, or dealt by, and then seal 4, counts, enter, cancel target, activate, or automatic ability your opponent controls. So this helps get rid of a lot of stuff. This can get rid of God's Arts.
Yep.
Because you're like, hey, cool, no, you don't get that because it's an activate.
This is how you balance Lorite.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And then the Black Witch goes and gets that from the sideboard.
Yeah.
And the other card we have in the sideboard is Satan Sama himself. He is the other ruler, but he has to start in your sideboard. You pay 0, reveal this card from outside the game and keep it revealed. Pay 2 black, transfer him in place of your 2 astral rulers. Like your rulers have to be astral to do that. So you replace those. And then God's Art Trinity, essentially everything in play, minus stones, loses all abilities. They all die. Every person discards their hand.
Yep.
And everything in the graveyards gets removed. So everyone's back at normal and top deck mode. And you get a 40/40 that says Barrier, Eternal, and if it leaves play, I lose the game.
Yeah.
So it's not without its own danger, but if they don't have a way to answer it, then you could just be like, well, take 40.
Yeah.
Take 40.
I win. Thanks.
It's a wild card. It's fun to play.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
They can get there. Like, you can stop it if you top deck enough, or at least you prepare for it enough. But you can get there for sure.
Yeah. Overall, though, the deck is super good. I mean, it did get to top 2 in Minnesota, so it is definitely a good deck.
Yeah.
It is a strong deck, and it's fun to play, and we're going to showcase what it can do before we get to the new set. The deck list will be down below, guys, for those that have not seen it, and we will see y'all again next time.
Goodbye.
Later. Also, guys, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to our channel, and then hit that bell for any future notifications that you have for our videos.
And we go ahead and give a big thank you to our fans for over the years, especially our Mythic and Above Patreon followers.
Thank you, Ryan.
With that, we love you. Thank you for your support.